Who I don't think will be here is Nick Castellanos next season, and now he's not even here half the time, Anthony. When we look at this team, I mean, we're in full on platoon mode, and I think good on Rob Thompson and good on the Phillies for finally getting there. It was a little bit of like a soft landing. They probably waited too long, quite honestly, to do it. Did I mishear Rob, though, this week when he said, like, my job is basically to put the best lineup on the field that I think is going to give us the best chance to win on a given night? Like, that's pretty strong. Like, I think we've arrived at, like, we don't think Nick Castellanos can really help us most nights.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much got to that. Like, he said, you called a platoon. He said there still might be a couple times where it's like a rotation. So I still think that here and there he's going to get that odd start against a righty. I don't think it's a strict Kepler versus right, Castellanos versus left. But I think more often than not, it's going to be that. And that's kind of what we're headed toward in the playoffs, is that Castellanos will only play against a left-handed pitcher in the postseason.
So in that, you have a new center fielder. Do you kind of think that they are finally getting to where I was hoping they'd be, 2 weeks ago, which is Harrison Bader's got to be your everyday center fielder?
Yes, he's in the line. There's no reason to take him out of the lineup. Everything he does for you from a defensive perspective, the offense he provides, the energy, the swagger. There's a lot that
I'll give Dave Dombrowski credit. Obviously he's been very productive after a slow start here, and they need that production. I mean, this outfield desperately needed an increase in production, but that move in particular also has addressed, and the Duran move as well, has added some excitement and a little bit of needed, I think, juice to this team. But I think the everyday nature of Harrison Bader's existence really addresses a very noticeable and longstanding problem with this current group, which is they desperately needed some spark, some jolt of electricity, some different vibe, different new energy. And that stuff I think sometimes can be a little bit overanalyzed or overhyped, but I truly felt like last year they very much needed that. They didn't get it. I felt at the beginning of this year they needed it. They didn't get it. And good on Dave Dombrowski, I think, for saying not only will he help us and solidify what is a really just a below average outfield, but also I think it's going to address some of that intangible nature of the problem.
And I will tell you, Bob, and it's the reason that they chose Garrett Stubbs over Otto Kemp or anybody else from AAA, right? Like the person that you were calling up to be the 28th man on this team is not going to play. Yeah. Just they're not. The way that they use the guys on the team, they're just not going to play. So why not bring someone in who's going to be that, bring that spark energy-wise, bring that vibe, bring that, personality. So it ties in there as well on a much smaller level, but that's exactly what Bader is as a player who is actually contributing to the team. Yeah. So like, I think that's it, man. Like that's really, Bader was a big I did a story, I don't know if you saw it, where I looked at the trade deadline a month later, and I basically did my own little formula where I looked at the team's record since the trade deadline. I looked at how much Fangraphs WAR each individual player has added, and then a per player WAR addition to the teams, and kind of like did like this little formula and came up with a ranking system of who has gotten the most out of their trade deadline since July 31st. And of the 16 teams analyzed, the Phillies,
the Padres or Mets. I know that much.
Phillies were number one. Look, the Padres have gotten positives out of Laureano's been good. Mason Miller's been what they expected. He has a setup, but he's a setup guy, not a closer there. Like, so the Padres have gotten that, which is positive, but the other guys have not hit for them. Yeah. So I look at it and say the Phillies had right now, and things can change by November 1st, but right now the Phillies have had the best deadline over anybody else as far as what they're getting out of the people that they got.